Hello there, and welcome back to class. Now that you have assembled your sequence line of place values, I want to give you a chance to practice those a little bit. And then we will use those skills as we move forward with our workbook. But these are problems that I'm just making up. They're not in the workbook. And so just if you turn to a blank sheet and let's just do some examples. The first one, I'm going to give you standard form on this one. I may not on all of them. But standard form for this number is 2, 0, 0, 0. I want to see if you can give me scientific, decimal, fraction, and word form for this value. So let's see if we can come up with our forms for all of these. I'm going to start with word form. 2,000. Decimal form I can do fairly quickly. That's going to be 2,000 and a decimal. You can put in a 0 if you'd like to. In the fraction, I know that it would just be 2,000 over 1. Scientific is going to be 2 times 10 because our number system is based on tens to the third power because there are 3 zeros. Those zeros are not after a decimal, so it's not a -3, it's a +3. And there are the forms for 2,000. Okay, let's do another one. Here is standard. Eight, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Standard. Let's try scientific. It's going to be 8 times 10 to the 7th power. Word form. That is an 8 in the 10 million seat, so we're going to call that 80 million. Decimal form. If you can see standard, you can do decimal because it's just that number, a decimal, and if you want to, let's add a 0 out there, or as many as you want to add. And then the fraction form, again, if you can see standard, you can get the fraction. So we have 80 million, and it needs a denominator, so we can only use a 1. Okay, next example. Here's standard. Decimal 0, 0, 0, 5. So let me go ahead and get decimal. That's going to be an easier one to do since I'm looking at standard. All I need to do is put that leader 0 in and keep my decimal. Let's do scientific next. So we have a 5, always times 10 because our number system is based on tens. And the 5 is after a decimal, so it's -4. There are 4 places after that decimal. The 5 is in the 4th place, so it is -4. Word form. This one's tricky, I know, dealing with decimal places. We know that it's 5, so let's count our places. You have the decimal, then you have tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. 5 10,000ths. And since it's more than one 10,000, you want to put the S on there. And then once you get word form, you can have fraction form. That will follow. It's not easy, but it's easier if you can see word form. So I have 5, and then my denominator is 10,000 this time. 5 10,000ths. Okay, here's another one. Let me give you standard, sorry. Let's do 0, 0, 5. We used a 5. Let's use an 8. 0.08. So decimal form will have the leader 0. Same value, doesn't change the value. Let's do scientific. So we have an 8, always times 10 because our number system's based on 10, and this is 2 behind the decimal, to the -2. Word form. Is 8. 2 decimal places makes it the hundredths place. And then fraction form is exactly what the word form says. 8, not 100, hundredths. That's what tells me that it's a fraction. The 100 is on the bottom because of that TH. Okay, let's do just a few more. I want to challenge you just a little bit. So I'm going to go to the next page. And this time I'm going to give you decimal form first. So I'm going to give you 4,000.0. Okay. To get standard form, you just drop off any zeros that are not necessary. And that would be anything after a decimal. Those are not necessary. They're called extraneous zeros. So we're just going to get rid of those. And I can get rid of the decimal point. I don't need to show it because there are no decimal values out there. So scientific, once I can see standard, I can do scientific. It's not easy, but I can do it. It's 4 times 10. And this is not behind the decimal, so it's not a negative. It's going to be a positive 3, 10 to the third. Word form, look at standard and just tell me what that says. it is 4,000, not thousandths. So that fraction is not going to have 1,000 on the bottom. It's going to have a 1 on the bottom because the 4,000 goes on top. That's the numerator. 4,000, and then it needs a denominator. We don't want to change the value, so it is a 1. 4,000, not 4,000th. Okay, let me give you fraction form, and let's see what we can do. I'm going to give you 1 over 6,000 as fraction form. So let's get word form. And actually, I want you to come back. I'm sorry, guys. Let's make this a 6 over 1,000. I got ahead of myself there. 6 over 1,000 is what I meant to say. So I would read this as 6 thousandths. 6 thousandth, because the fraction has 1,000 on the bottom, and that's where that TH is coming in. So the decimal is going to be decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 6 thousandths. Standard just drops off all of those extra zeros. So standard is going to be 0.006. And scientific, once you see standard, you can write scientific, is 6 times 10 to the negative 3. 6 thousandths. Okay, couple more and I'll let this go. I don't mean to drive you crazy with it. Let me give you another fraction. That was a tough one. Let's do 80,000 over 1. So there's fraction form. Standard form. Standard form drops away any extra stuff, so we can drop the 1. We don't need that. It can be there or not. We're looking at just the standard simplified number. Think of simplified when you think of standard. So decimal would be the 80,000. Point 0. There are no decimal parts. Scientific would be 8 times 10. There are no decimal parts, so you just count those zeros, and there are 4 of them. And then word form, we have 8 10,000s, and so to write that correctly, it would be 80,000. Okay, for the last one, I'm going to give you scientific. and see if we can get the other forms from this piece of information. So I'm going to use 9 times 10 to the negative 5. 9 times 10 to the negative 5. So let's see if we can build a decimal. I know this is a decimal because that exponent is negative. Okay. So here's my leader and here's my decimal. Now I need to go out 5 places behind the decimal. That's what this is saying. 5 places after the decimal. And if it helps you, go ahead and draw them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that 9 gets to sit in that 5th place. And then zeros are going to fill this place. So the decimal is 0 point, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths. So the word form, since I've just counted those off, is 9 in the 100 thousandths place. It's not thousand, it's thousandth because it's after the decimal. And so fraction I can get from my word form. 9 in the 100 thousandths place. And standard is the one, remember, standard takes away all the extra stuff. So in that decimal I can leave off the leader, but I cannot leave off anything else. So there is standard form. So any form that you're given, you can start with any of them and find the other 4 if you practice and know what you're doing. Remember that your instructor is always available to help you. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact him or her. I know this is a lot. This is one of those lessons that just has a lot of information. But hopefully you're following me a little bit. That's even if you're not perfectly clear, it's okay. We can always add to your skills. You can also watch the video again if you want to do that. But I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you in our next video where we'll learn about, I believe it's comparing decimals. Bye-bye.